All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started now. And what I want to do is, first of all, I'd like to check in. I always like to do a check-in. So any issues that came up overnight, you were doing something, you had a burning question that you didn't get a chance to ask yesterday, anything like that. We were that good yesterday? All right. Oh, see, come on, there's always one.
Yesterday you were talking about a Dropbox.
Oh, the Dropbox. So we will put that up for the end of the day. Let's get this off of here. We do not need to have this recorded.
I'll be glad to cover that.
Okay, well, we will do that. For some of you, when we started the Google websites, if you're having a little bit of difficulties with the website and you're also pretty proficient with the website, we're going to ask you to kind of help people because we can't be at every table. Some of you are like, oh, I know how to do a Google website. They're not intuitive. I don't think Google websites are very intuitive. So even if you're proficient, we may tell you something new, but for a newbie, you're going to get plain old lost. And so people who are at least familiar with the website help those who are kind of lost, because it can really be difficult. I still have a hard time navigating and maintaining my site because I'm thinking I'm doing something and I'm not, and then I get frustrated and I go to LightMinder. So, because I know what I do, it's like make a tab, do a sub-tab, put it here, and tell me to go there. So, but you do need to know how to do a Google website. While you're doing that, and you still want to know about Dropbox, and you're willing to pull away a little bit, we can talk individually about Dropbox, or we can do Dropbox as a whole. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the whole training's been really great for me. I have a son going off to UC Santa Cruz, and it's been really fun going home and showing him some of these collaborative tools because he's going off into an environment where they're going to be doing a lot of interactive learning, and so I get to be the expert. It's so great. It's so fun to share.
Generational downward is upward.
That's good. It's really awesome.
Excellent. Anything else? Yes, Tamara?
The first day, I think, Jody, we were talking about how to change media to manipulate text. Could you go over that again?
So we could,
Okay.
Michael, we want to work with.
Yeah, I'm Zoe Reader.
Okay, so we'll talk about a PDF.
A little PDF, a little tutorial, the fact that some PDFs are locked, some are unlocked.
Okay.
The ones that are unlocked, we can get in and edit.
So we'll work with that. We'll make time to work with that. Anything else? Okay, screencast. Okay. Anything else? Because this is the time. This is the time.
There are some of the tools that have been presented. There are optional tools to you, and we maybe have like more pros and cons about one tool over the other. And if there's an iPad app that's even better or whatever, I think that would be like really great to say. Yeah, I mean, the one place doctor had that eventually would be like a really
So
great
like
tool.
you're thinking an actual doc.
Well, eventually, it would be nice.
Anything else somebody wants to go over? This is it. We'll make the time for you. Okay, so.
Tiva.
Oh, Mrs. Tiva.
She did.
That hand went up and down so fast I didn't see it.
Because of everything. I need some one-on-one.
Oh, you always can. So we'll just write Miss.
We have a great collaborative
Yeah.
environment.
So don't worry, Miss Ativa. You'll get your one-on-one. Where are you? You know you're too far away from her. That's why he's over there. Okay. She's in Maine. Alaska over there is West Coast. So, okay, so we'll build time into the after session, after we go over the two things that we have focused on for today. We'll build time to at least begin to address these things, okay? And so that's good for that. There is, before you get dismissed for lunch, we will take our group picture. We always take a group picture. And then you will go up on the Facebook page, replace last year's group, and you'll be in this year's group as our graduating class. And actually there'll be two, because there'll be a graduating class next week as well. We do have a Facebook page to get that information in the evaluation. And we do have a website, an Urban Bootcamp for Educators website that links to LiveBinder as well. So you'll get all that in the evaluation. And the one thing I ask you to do today is that please go to the Facebook page, say something to somebody, and push like. Please like the page. That way it keeps us up at the top. But there was a lot of buzz on that page after camp, and this is where you can communicate with people that are here, that you want to continue that conversation. You run into something, you put up there and go like, I can't remember how to do so-and-so, can somebody help me? And that's where you can get that kind of help. Okay? So, since we've done that, we're going to go ahead and start the day. And what we want to do is go over quickly, it's very important, so we're going to spend the amount of time we need to spend on this, but acceptable use. There's two things, there's acceptable use and there's digital citizenship, and they both go together. And acceptable use is what can you and can you not use, and then digital citizenship is about how can you actually use them, be online and not be a bully, not be intimidating. You have to have those conversations with your students about the power of being online, but also they need to understand that once it's online and then once it's out there in the stratosphere, in the network sphere, it's out there forever. And that employers do go online now. So that little naked picture that you put out there and send to somebody will show up. Remember, Jody showed you I can take a picture of your face, put it out there on Google, and then Google that, and you can see what kind of images are out there to match that face. And so those little sex texting thingies, they need to understand what can happen to them because they're young. They think like, oh, I'm just a teenager, this is going to go away, and it's like it never goes away. Yes?
I saw last night on the news that the police are using social media to identify criminals now. They're posting things on like the videos and asking people that see them on Facebook or whatever to come back.
And not only that, when you think you've erased it,
No.
there are ways, there's software, and it's like a time machine that can go back in time and find you.
Yeah, they have to go to I forget it's called like Internet Archive. You can go to that website and then see what was on that page at that time.
So you have to have, as you start using this with your students, you must have that conversation. We're not going to get into digital citizenship in this particular camp because that's actually a whole 4 to 5 hour training, sometimes a whole day training. But I need to bring that up because as the teacher and you're working with the kids, that conversation has to take place, especially when you're doing collaborating. They need to know. They can't call somebody stupid during the collaborating process. They can't say like, oh, this was just like really dumb. You need to make sure that they know how to respond to one another. And just like any other classroom management issue, this is a digital citizenship classroom management digital issue. We're moving into new frontiers, so we have to address these things differently. I don't know whose hand was up first.
Okay. I wanted to say that I use a wiki in my classroom, and this year we had an issue with, because they collaborate on the wiki, and one student chose to say something inappropriate to another student, and it was super easy for me to tell because it has their name and recent activity. I go, oh my gosh, Michael, what were you up to, right? So we had a class meeting, and I shut the whole thing down. I just said, you know what, I'm large and in charge. I get to be the administrator, and you guys are clearly, we have a couple of people, I didn't name names, I said we have a couple of people in our class who are choosing to use the wiki inappropriately, and they had so much peer pressure because everybody loved using the wiki so much, that those kids, that was it, done.
Yes.
I was going to say that I think that some teachers assume that parents, first of all, know how to behave online, and if you went to the parents' Facebook page, you'd probably find out that they don't. So don't ever assume that they're getting this kind of manners, net etiquette, and citizenship at home. They aren't. Many times they're not, because the parents are fairly new, and they're already coming in as adults, and so they've already made that filter and that decision, and they haven't really do it. So that's one of the things that I think is you can't make the assumption that they have those skills
Right.
when they come in.
Right, and you, as a teacher, assume nothing ever. Never assume anything. Never assume that they should know this already, that they understand anything already. You don't know until you ask. Then you ask and you go like they do or do not, and then you know what to do. If yes, go here. If no, go there. We're all about program. So what we're gonna talk about primarily today is acceptable use, right? So plagiarism is plagiarism, all right? So no, go back. Click back one.
I have nothing to say. I'm gonna say.
Okay. So what is plagiarism? Will you please talk that over with people at your table?
Copying. Taking other people's stuff and not giving them credit.
That's what my niece got into a huge amount of trouble for in high school.
Just making some work out pretending that it's yours.
Right.
You're not giving credit or whatever.
Well, and you can't just take it and give a citation unless you quote it. I mean, when you take it, if you choose to take it, you have to take that it's quotations as opposed to paraphrased or summarized as well. So it's also how you do that. The biggest problem is it's too easy to cut
Like, they get accused of plagiarism and they don't really have an understanding of it.
well, younger kids, elementary, it's really hard. We've had them do, because you can do a tool, develop everything.
My voice back 2 times.
Okay, so now that we've really kind of started to wrap our minds around plagiarism, can we get a real clear-cut definition from, let's say, somewhere on this side of the room? Real clear-cut, concise, what do you think is plagiarism? Tamara, you look like.
Oh, when you take someone else's words or ideas, et cetera, without giving them credit.
Excellent. That pretty much is, we all agree here, nodding heads, yes. If you pretty much think you have something else to add, yes.
Well, the gray area for me was the idea part, because I get the words verbatim, but then we were just talking about how it's so common to take the content and put it in your own words that we don't call it plagiarism.
Very true, without an attribution. So I'm just going to give you the APA version of what is plagiarism. Plagiarism is if that you take more than, I believe, 45% of their words and put them into a sentence without any form of attribution. Okay, so it's usually more than half. Now you get into this whole educational use idea as well, because you know that you can copy certain materials up to 20% with an educational purpose. But if you go out and publish that and claim it for your own, you're up against a lawsuit. Okay? So you just want to, when in doubt, you really should cite. And there's 2 ways of citing. There's putting them in a reference, okay, or putting it in text. So when you put it in text, you're going to have a last name and a page number and the date. If it's in the end, you're going to do MLA, APA, whatever, style, bibliography in the reference point. Okay? Is that really crystal clear? When in doubt, put a cite. Very simple. Very simple. Okay?
All right, so let's get to the next one. The next one is, what do students think is plagiarism? Would you please discuss that amongst yourselves?
Different lens now, not a teacher lens.
Just finished. I don't know how well it's covered in junior high, and I don't know if it's part of elementary. They don't really understand the concept of the reasons.
I don't think they pronounce it sometimes.
Okay.
So no concept.
They have no content. I tried teaching plagiarism in 5th grade. Not teaching plagiarism, teaching about the danger.
And they're still,
Well, it's a big word, but they should come up with a better word, I think. I mean,
what's it?
I don't know. Something they can
Copying. Okay. And is it okay to copy?
It is okay to copy sometimes.
Sometimes.
If you're teaching each other collaborative teaching, you're copying each other.
So why can't I copy what the Scots said?
Because it's like a test at that point.
Oh, so it's only for academics?
I'm not sure.
I know, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Jono, I know you can take it. How about this side of the room? Yes, ma'am.
So the students, 5th grade students think it sounded just so good, the way it was already said. Like, how could I possibly improve on that? It the sentence structure was already so great.
So much better than what happened, right?
Yeah, because when I wrote it in my words, it didn't sound.
Have that fluidity. So is it okay to copy sentence structure?
Sentence structure, yes.
Sentence structure.
If I just put different words in?
Sure.
It's interesting, I don't think you understand what plagiarism is. They're so used to sharing information, sharing so many things. They just think they're sharing ideas, sharing some information, and maybe put another idea below it of their own. Maybe they'll find, Marjorie was saying, some text that explains an idea, and then they'll put their own words below it. And they're just sharing.
Sharing. Do you think we need as educators to show the difference between copy, share,
Yes.
plagiarism, stealing? Do you think we need to make a crystal clear line of going, this is demo? Help me out. How would you demo, Julianne? How would you demo this?
Well, it needs to be modeled. It's a behavior and a structure that we need to talk them through in the classroom and show them examples and make it an exercise in class. You can't just assume they understand.
I think it also starts on the kindergarten level because if you, I don't know, I remember being in school and a lot of times when we're learning to write or then they say like copy this sentence out of this book. And so if we start having them plagiarize in kindergarten, how do we unteach that? And so we don't need to teach it that way from the beginning.
That's really poignant part. Mark, you have more to add?
I mean, I just did something today on Facebook where I saw someone's article and I wanted to post it on my page, so I shared it. But what's cool about that is that it actually says via whoever the person that you were, so kind of like explaining that even on places like Facebook, you know, it tells you where you got it from. So
Can you see Julianne and Mark's idea in a lesson?
Totally.
I mean,
Yeah.
I could see Mark
That's a
and
real
Julianne
live, tangible
collaborating
example. That they
and
understand.
saying, even Facebook,
yeah.
excellent idea.
I was going to suggest that it's a little bit tough though, because in primary grades, you do a lot of sentence dictation. And really, they're copying your sentence. And so they are theoretically, I mean, that's a little bit harder because it's great. They're doing it for a learning process. But is it okay to copy for a learning process? Or is it the product that you have to actually apply for plagiarism?
Yes.
So when I'm teaching writing to my students, I tell them about Stephen King, because Stephen King learned how to write novels by copying novels he really liked and figuring out how that worked. And so they talk a lot about that there's nothing wrong with copying to learn a skill, like sentence dictation and structure. But but when you have to apply the skill, that's when you need to learn. And so one of the things I actually have a lesson I called How Not to Get Caught by Turn It In. And I tell them, here's copying, and we talk about quotations. And now here's how you paraphrase that same idea. Now I'm teaching 10th and 11th graders, but I say, because sometimes you want to quote, you're going to copy what the author said. Sometimes you want to paraphrase because you just want to say, here's this piece of historical knowledge that we're going to take as a given for the rest of the paper, so you're alluding to it, but it's still not your idea. So here's how you paraphrase. And so that's how I frame it, and they all like the Stephen King.
Excellent. Such great ideas. Stephen King and Facebook.
Andy Warhol.
Warhol. There you go.
So the bottom line is, do they know what copy plagiarism is? No. Do you have to teach it? Yes. Good. Okay, let's go.
We're good. As you can see, remember that whole anal and the little thing?
That was one of our vendors, I'm sorry, I had to take it, was our vendor for Tuesday who was going to be presenting. So is this plagiarism? And I had something I was going to show you, but I'm not going to do it because I want to move this along. And basically it was going to show you something that, like, does this constitute plagiarism? And the answer was going to be yes, it does. Okay, so I'm going to take you to this website. This is like the coolest website. When you're on, when your kids are doing web search and you ask them to go out and do research and stuff like that, and they go and they take this, and like I'm doing this right here in front of you, and I'm saying, see this wonderful website, it's really cool, and I don't tell you where it's from or anything. Is that or is that not plagiarism? I'm just using it here. Is it not plagiarism?
No.
Why is it not plagiarism?
You're not claiming it as your work.
What if I claim it as my work?
Then you plagiarize.
That's the difference. That's the difference. I claim this as my work, and it's really funny because you're actually going to learn something else. If this is up here and I'm doing this presentation and I'm making money doing this presentation and I just put this up here, and even though it says it belongs to this guy and all this other stuff, and I don't cite that it belongs to this guy, that's plagiarism. If I'm making money off of it. These rules are very, very gray now because all those copyright laws were written for print. And they have to figure out new copyright laws for digital use. But just so you'll know, yes?
So if we're teaching and making salary teaching and we're using that. Okay.
No, we're talking about for-profit.
Yeah, I'm understand.
No, for-profit. No, you have the 20% rule as a teacher.
Okay.
You just put that up there, it's okay, you don't have to say squat about it. Okay. So I am going to take you to this site though. We're actually going to play a game. This is a great site. You're going to get the URL. If you want to start writing down the URL, you can, but you're going to get on the next page really, really big because you're actually going to go to this site. I went to this guy's training and the oh, let me have this. Well, I can never stand in one spot when I teach. I went to this guy's training at the SUBC conference last month in San Diego, and it was just great. He has this wonderful website where there are games and all sorts of ways for you to teach your kids what is acceptable use, including bullying and everything. It's a free site. Most of the materials are free, so it's a site that I want to take you to because you guys are going to play a quick game. So this is how you get students, and there's all kinds of tips and tricks. It's like how to do research, how to look at the veracity of a website, how to look at the veracity of you know, if it's on the website, it must be real. How to tell with the org and the EDUs and the comms, all this stuff. So you don't have to make up these lesson plans or games. They're already there, and this is a really good site to go to. So this is the website. I want you all to go there. If you have your map with you and you have a QR code reader, you can just go ahead and it'll take you right there.
And the QR readers are free on the App Store.
Okay. Are you guys there?
Yeah.
Can I get off? Can I go there now?
Sure.
Wait, hold on.
I have Febreze all over my hands. Febreze is sticky. I didn't know that. Can I go there now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the site, 21st Century Information Fluency, and it's called 21st CIF. And over here is the navigation bar, and I'm going to take you to what is called full circle kits. And then in these full circle kits, they have a lot. They have a directory, full circle kits, and so on. I'm taking you to the action zone games. All right? So you guys following me okay? All right. In the action zone game, I'm scrolling down to Kermit Challenge. Click on, So first, before you click on Kermit Challenge, quickly read what it says. Search strategies, find the URL for a web page. I don't need to read that to you, so please read it. Once you've read it, then click on the Kermit Challenge.
Oh my gosh.
But it'll be fun. Okay, so are you guys there? Did you finish reading? All you gotta do is click on the game. What? You're still in yes? Oh. Okay, I'll come over there and help you in a second. Right now, just follow along with her. Are you guys on the game now?
Yeah.
Play the game. You're adults. You're teachers. You're coming here for the first time. Play the game. Play the game. It's a really cute game.
It's great. It stumps them
Go
every
ahead and do what
time.
it says. Wait, the reason I'm not telling you what to do is because if you don't decide yourself, you're going to have to figure this out yourself. It's not hard. If I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out.
Done. Because I already done this, I've done it over years in a row.
So go ahead and play the game.
It's great. It's good. But Jody, I was just trying this in Google, and one, you can't do it because it's Flash and it won't do it. So the other page, I'm now trying the other page to see if I can do it.
I'm kind of cheating, but I won't tell you when.
Well, I know what you did. I already know how to do it because I teach this for a time. It's not a hard one. The new search button, it won't do it because it's Flash. So that's the thing here. Because the stuff.
So he says right Okay. How you guys doing?
I know.
Who's still looking? Ah, people who are nicely done. Go help the people who are still looking. People who are nicely done and people who are still looking, raise your hand so you can get some help. People who are, and then tell them what you did. I need a Miss Sativa help, please. Do me a favor. Will you go over and help Miss Sativa, please?
I put grass.
Okay.
From the phone grass. And then I hit the website, it was the first one.
Is this table, did you guys get it?
And it was Southampton College.
You guys got it?
And then you type that.
Who else has it? Will you come on this table, please? Will somebody help this table, please?
Anybody else?
Okay, but look at the picture. What do you see in the picture? What's he doing? What does he look like?
It's like this.
Okay, but what does he look like?
It looked like this.
Try that. Huh? Try that. The way he looks. Well, try what he looks. So try Kermit Professor and then try Kermit Sheriff. Okay, can you hear my voice about one time? Can you hear my voice about 2 times? Okay. How many of you have it now? So people who were struggling, I want to talk to you first. And that's okay because this is how we learn. Tell me what you did that did not give you the result that you wanted.
And I didn't understand that we were supposed to go to Yahoo and search it in there, so I kept searching it in that first little blank where you're supposed to type the URL, so it kept saying I was wrong and erasing everything. So that was my problem.
Okay, so as a teacher, you were struggling with the basic directions. Okay, number 1, what does that tell you as a teacher? What do you have to do before you teach it to the kids? Do it yourself. All right? Okay, that's good because a lot of teachers don't think they have to do that. They think you can just walk in and now you're standing up here in front of the kids and the kids are chomping at the bit to do it and you're struggling trying to figure out how to make it work. And they're thinking, what a ditz of a teacher. And then you lose them. Okay, so that's one. Another person who struggled, what was your thinking process? Go ahead.
I think just the using the right search. I typed in Kermit and Cap and Gown and it took me to this whole site of Muppets and Caps and Gowns.
Okay.
I didn't search there to narrow it, so I was scrolling.
So she had Kermit, Cap, and Gown. She got exactly what she asked for. Kermit, Cap, and Gown. And a zillion pictures. But it wasn't the picture she was looking for. All right? So that means you have to what? Continue to narrow your search. The first time I did it, I went, Kermit the Frog, and I got 9 billion Kermit the Frogs. So then I went back again, and I said, okay, they're asking me to do something special here. Yes, Jamie, your hand was up.
Oh, actually, I tried the image search where I dragged it into Google. But it only came up with this page, so I didn't know if maybe they were, it was a trick question that this is the website, the one that we see it on is the website with whatever it is.
So the search by image does not work with this because this is a flash-based image and not an image. It's actually something that isn't really an image in its form. So it doesn't work the same way you would search by image normally. You still had to have the right words.
You have to have. So what we're going to do now is, I just wanted to put you through that. This actually then asks you to do things like, based on this image, find out the actual URL where it came from, the event where it came from. And then you have to go to the image, and then you have to look at the URL that come up, and you have to, so you got to go. It asks you to do a lot of stuff, so it's really fun. It's fun. I just don't want to spend a lot of time doing it now. I just want you to do the first one. And this is an easy one. So you start here with the kids and you play these games with them. And that's how they learn. But you can see if you have children, let's say, that are finishing early on something, they can play one of these digital games and it will, it won't let them go to the next thing until they hit mastery. And they can move up to intermediate to advanced by doing these games. This is a really great site. It's really a fun site. And it's a site filled with information. So I just took you to one place, which was the kid zone, the action zone. But there are all kinds of other more meaty searches in here, and the ones about veracity are just wonderful. So, but they take time. You have to do this. Now you have to incorporate this as part of your teaching tool, because this is part of digital management. Yes, Michael.
Since you assign some of this as homework, and
sure you could,
and then have them enter information into like a Google Doc.
Sure, you absolutely can. You can assign it as homework and tell them to go to the doc and fill in this information. You can. So, I think that I'm just about finished. But they had other I just enjoy working with this site. So make sure that you go back to this site and use it in your classroom. Okay. Oh, graduate. In Yahoo, it's
Commencement.
Google commencement or Google graduate. Is it commencement or Google
Commencement,
graduate?
graduation does not work, or it didn't used to. Maybe it does now, but it didn't used to. It had to be commencement.
I think I wrote graduation speaker or something, and it gets there. I think I wrote Kermit graduate or Kermit graduation, and he got there.
The giveaway was that his mouth was open.
Well, that's a different page. That's not the page they want you to be
But
on.
it's okay. It's all right. It doesn't make any difference right now. That's okay. There we go. So
Okay.
now.
So because of what Dr. Connie was speaking of earlier about how we are dealing with this digital issue of who owns what, intellectual property, we have come up with this amazing thing called Creative Commons. Now, Creative Commons allows people to share intellectual property over a digital media. This could be music, video, image, and text. If you ever see a C with a circle around it, that is a Creative Commons image. And I talked a little bit about this yesterday with Wikimedia.
I thought it was 2 C's.
Yes, 2 C's. With the
One C is copyright.
Yeah, 2 C's with a circle around it. Sorry, not the copyright. Thank you for clarifying that. And so, anytime you see Creative Commons, GNU, new, that's another one. Those are also types of licensing that somebody has given over their rights for you to use, reproduce, remix, change it up. Now, some of them are restricted, so you have to read through, and I'm going to take you through one really fast, and it will tell you at the bottom, please attribute, meaning they want their name associated with the page, but they're still going to allow you to tweak it a little bit. So what I do in my spare time is I create iBooks. And when I make an iBook, I start with my own text, I go out and search for text for authors, and then I find all my images, and I use Wikimedia as the website to do so. Also, I just want to give you a tiny bit of background where it comes from. It's from San Francisco, free public licensing, share, reuse legally. Now, the difference between Creative Commons and public domain is that in public domain, it's mainly because their copyright protection has now expired. Anything before 1923, you can utilize. So, I do a lot of old stuff. You can see a lot of images that are in sepia and black and white because I know they're free. Now, there are some unusual cases in which a family, a legacy, has kept the copyright. And that one of my favorite artists, Andrew White, I cannot use any of his images, even though he's passed, because his family continues to own the rights. So you got to make sure that it is a public domain image available for you to use. This is the strangest thing, is that there are some countries that we can use any of their stuff without question, answer, whatever. Not a problem. Afghanistan is one of them. I don't know all the legal issues behind it, but if you had a picture of an Afghani rug or something, you can utilize it. So I don't know if it has to do with their government structure, no idea. Here's Wiki Commons. This is an exemplar of an image I pulled off of Wiki Commons. I can use it. It's for me. It's a public domain image. Here is where you want to go right now. And I want you to hop on Commons, Wikimedia.org, and that will take you right to their main page. See the little C with the line through it? That's public domain. That means any purpose you have, no condition, you can utilize this. So if you can go there real quick. And I want you to search. We're going to do it just like the other day, because I'm going to make this real short and brief. This time, instead of searching for images like you did yesterday, I'm going to have you borrow sounds. And I say the word borrow, but you're really technically taking it. So we're going to click on, once you're there, Wikimedia Commons, sounds. And And so it's gonna ask you, again, educational purposes. They don't want you to advertise. And I'm gonna search nature sounds. Here comes a category. Sounds of, let's go, landscape. And, hold on a minute. So you search what you want. Here's whales and dolphins. Here's the wave file, or the OGG file. And I'm going to play it. They're quiet whales. Here they go. They're coming.
Control it on there.
Now, this is a sound I can put into a PowerPoint. I can put this into a classroom opener. The child walks in the door and they hear this. What a great hook. And now I can borrow it. I can copy it, download it to the hard drive, insert it into things in PowerPoint, whatever I want. Now go ahead and make just a couple other sounds. Go ahead, let it go. Keep yours. You might go hear birds. So we've got birds.
Turn yours down.
No. Search sound, nature sounds. In search box. The question is that you're ending up with images.
Yes.
Go back. Okay. Category sound. So the first thing you want to do is click on category sound.
Yeah.
Okay, we're in the category of sound. There's different types, waves, audio files. Let's stick with, you scroll all the way to the bottom.
First thing is everybody there? Is
All
everybody
the
at
way to the
category
bottom.
sounds? Who is not at category sounds?
Okay, go back to category sound. As long as it has a little speaker, you're in sound.
How do you search?
How do I get to this?
No, I searched the topic in the images again.
Did you find out what side
After
was
it's
on?
Okay, so
Oh,
I click sound.
Yeah.
I want a day of silence.
How do I search in there?
Now I want to stay in sound.
That must mean there's no, there's none in that way, in that area.
Here we go.
Sound,
Silence.
and then nature.
That wasn't silent.
Okay, I keyed in
How to pronounce the
sound,
word silence.
nature,
Audio
and I got
Morse
my
code.
whales. Someone's got Morse code. Okay.
Could they type their?
They got weird music in that.
Yeah, the tricky thing is it doesn't stay.
Oh, I hear some good music.
That's why I went like this. This is how I did it. So let me start. So I went to 70. Oh no, I search by the sound type. So I know the OGG sound. And so I get used to like oak sound. Because
I'm scrolling down here, Denali Park.
I tell my kids that. Wave said remember that when you're teaching your new homes.
So wave sounds. Here's a chicken.
Multiple sounds and your neighbors got it. Neighbors help each other.
You need how many found it? I just searched for the sound files themselves. It says for
There's some kind
If you can hear my voice, I want you to make the sound of the whale. If you can hear my voice, I want you to make the sound of a dolphin. And lastly, if you can hear my voice, I want you to roar like a lion. Excellent. I know there's a lot of bugs in the system, in the Wikimedia site. I think it's because it's still really new and things are a little disorganized. But as you keep working with it, I'm convinced you will be fine. You will hopefully find what you need. If not, I have another suggestion for you.
Well, can I add something, Jody? Wikimedia Commons is really all the pictures and the sounds that you find in Wikipedia pages. So you can often look in Wikipedia for what you want, and then you will find the sound file on the page or the topic that you're looking for. So that's an alternative way of finding them.
Thank you. That's a good clarification. Jonah.
I did want to add just one other thing that I learned in the library school, that any .gov website, everything there
is free. Exactly.
So if you find a government website with an image, you can take it.
That's right. And you'll find that often at the bottom of Wikimedia Commons, you'll say this is a public domain because it's a government image taken by tons of Navy pictures. Anything that on a ship the Navy takes, pretty much unless it's top secret or secret file, it's public domain. Some other great sites, and I have a bunch of them. I'm not gonna just leave you at Wiki Commons. This is Jamendo, and this is another place where you can grab music and some sounds, mainly music. This is where a lot of indie artists come, and they drop their music to get their name out there. And so Jamendo is a real fun one to add to your PowerPoints, to your screencasts that you want to have. So maybe some music depth. You have it layered on top of your voice in the background. And these, I have a bunch of, you can make even a little file of them. Because I will tell you, you might want to think about finding one for something we're doing on Wednesday. And Miss Atiba is going to talk more of that on Wednesday. But you might want to have a couple music files to go with an art project you might be doing. Is there a question? Nope. Okay. So, Jamendo. Here's another one. My favorite absolute website of all time is the Kennedy Center. This is called Arts Edge. I get so much out of here. They have things from primary sources such as the original tape of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. They have Kennedy's speeches. They have old folk tales, oral traditions. So a lot, if you're teaching primary resources, this is it. If you want to take a picture of an image of Peruvian dancing, this is it. And here's an example of a Peruvian musician. He is playing on an ocarina. So if you wanted to teach your children about ocarina, look at what you can get. Notice they have a full lesson plan for you to go with the video. Talk about flipping already. You don't have to make everything. You can find so much on Arts Edge, and it's all free. Another venue I have for you, and many of you got it within your packet, was from the Library of Congress. And I had a wonderful discussion with them at ISTE, and she told me that they have so many archived newsprint that you can search, again, primary resources. They pretty much have almost a Smithsonian at their capability. Another great app is Smithsonian. I have that one on my iPad. And I can get a lot of primary free government resources. So Jono, absolutely. Okay? Any questions on what we've done so far? None? Okay.
Are you posting, excuse me, are you going to be posting your presentation on the boot camp or the live winders?
This is pulled right off the live binder for you.
Thank you.
So
I don't need to take notes.
Nope, it's already all there for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can we limit it to the 20%?
20% rule for educators is that the copyright, no matter what the copyright is, if you use it for educational purposes, you can use up to 20%. So for example, I have a book by Rob Marzano. I can use 20% of that as long as I'm using it in my education purposes. I can copy 20% of that and not get. I still do cite him. I still will say, thank you, Bob, you did some great research, but I can copy it without contacting him and saying, Bob, can I make some copies of your book? Okay, you can do up to 20%, and that is the law.
Just copying.
Copying straight out of the text.
I mean, can you post that? You're saying you can actually use that for your website? Or is it just physical?
No, when you're doing stuff like that, if it's a closed website for the kids in your classroom to access in order for them to do something educational, that's fine. If it's open to the public, no. You have to cite Robert Marzano and say this is directly from him. And you can then, it would be nice if you link them to his website as well. But no, if it's out in a public domain like that, then you're no longer using it in the classroom. Because it used to be we couldn't get out into the world. So it was always within those four walls. So the digital piece has to be within those four walls of your digital environment. Okay.
It's not 20% of a video, it's 15 seconds of a video. It's 15 seconds. It has a limitation on the amount of time you can use. And it's called fair use. That's really what it is. if you ever hear that term. It's about fair use.
And the big issue for me in the classroom teacher is that I knew that I can copy a certain percentage of the book and give it as a handout or give it as something to my kids. I did that a lot when I was doing for STAR testing, and I wanted to make sure my kids had all the latest and hottest things to do, and I would copy it out of books or anything and give it to the parents. And that's how I utilized it myself in the classroom. All right, Dr. Connie, I don't think, is there anything else we need to talk about before we begin to move into websites?
Yeah, anything else with the Google order on this? Are you all clear? You have access to this on LiveMinder. Has anybody gone to LiveMinder to look at this?
Oh, good, thank you, Tim.
Just want to make sure. No, what I'd like to do, because we're getting ready to do websites, and websites kind of like need your attention. So why don't we go ahead and take one of our restaurant breaks, and be here kind of like 10 after. That's 15 minutes since you got walking to do and stuff like that.
And any questions, I'll be glad to field right now.